Everyone, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Commissioner Status Update. It is August 5th, 2025. The time is 10:01 a.m. In attendance are Commissioners Eberline and Duncan. And Commissioner Matari, did you make it on the phone?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. All right. Are there any changes to the agenda?
None.
Hearing none. Public comment. Okay, hearing none. Our first item, Justice Building Update with Jeff Voller and David Mendez.
Good morning, David Mendez with Turner and Townsend Heery. I've given you an updated spreadsheet. That's not final. We've got some outstanding issues that still need to occur. But I wanted to go through, if I could, kind of a high level on this. And I will give you a separate summary I'll send to you with the high level portion of that. But currently, if you look at item 1 on the first page, it's got the construction guaranteed maximum price from the contractor of $28,600,000, and then our two contingencies for the design contingency and the construction contingency. And below that, as we've gone through weekly, as the project has progressed, each one of the items that take away from those contingencies. So the first category is design contingency, and if you'll go down to the bottom of that page, the total design contingency that we utilized during the project is $756,000. Of that, $882,000. That leaves $125,000 in that contingency that will come back to the county. The next category is construction contingency usage. And again, those are fewer items, but the total used on the project is $373,000 of the $819,000. That leaves $446,000 in the contingencies. The total of those two is $571,665, and that is, I can find that on the very back bottom of the second page. Going through soft costs, we've had some overruns and some underruns of significance. The architect, I think, is going to underrun by about $20,000, and that's a little bit problematic in that that was money that was that came from ARPA funds. So we'll have to credit back ARPA that $20,000 if they don't use it. Third-party testing, we've got an overrun, although that line item of $76,000, if you'll see item number 6, that's all west. We covered that in a contingency item for the most part, but we're still going to overrun that item by about $20,000. And we've gone over what the problems with inspections versus testing have been on the project, and so that's the reason for that overage, but we have it covered in one of the other contingency items. The next item of significance is item 16, permits, and I'm not sure why that's an underrun. That's $62,000 underrun. I've got to do a little more research before I tell you for sure that that's an underrun. That was a fixed quote, so we should have been billed that entire amount. On the item 18, which is my contract, we're going to, Jeff is going to take over the warranty portion of that and the back check on the punch list items. And so we're going to have about a $30,000 credit on our contract. Well, that's hard to say. Temporary power, we had some overruns, but I had allowed for that in an item down below for item 30 of $25,000. So we were a little bit, we got about $3,000 left in that contingency. So we hit that one pretty well. Third-party contingency, or third-party commissioning shows quite a bit of money there, but that's because that was one of the last items that's done on the project, and they haven't sent their bill to us yet. So that'll be probably a zero amount for items 23 and 32. FF&E, originally we budgeted $1,058,000 for FF&E. we're going to probably come up shy of hitting that by about 185,000. So we'll have a credit to the project of about 185,000, which is really, really good with all of the inflation that we were anticipating. That didn't come to fruition. Jeff was able to do a pretty good job of keeping that budget down. So I'm still leaving an allowance there. Jeff has some other items he still has to purchase, and he'll go through that list with you. Space planning, we handled that under the FF&E, so that's a $62,000 credit on item number 25. Item number 26, architectural engineering fees. I had allowed for an additional $35,000. We didn't use that. And their reimbursable expenses for copies and travel and such. They had that covered, so that $24,000 is a credit. Legal services, I allowed $50,000. We didn't use any of that. And then low voltage added furnishings, we thought that we would run into some additional costs on those two items. We did not, so that $200,000 is a credit back to the project. For a total soft cost credit of $626, plus the contingencies of $571, a total underrun on the budget of $1,198,000. Bottom of the page is owner contingency. We, by statute, we're required to carry an owner contingency of $1,027,000. We did not dip into that, so total savings on the project of $2,225,000 from the original budget of $35,820,000. That leaves the final project costs to date, and I caution you with the to date part. We still have some costs to accumulate of $33,594,000. That's a lot of numbers. I'm sure we'll have questions as we go through, and I give you the higher level summary so you can take a look at that. But do you have any questions at this point?
Bruce, any questions?
No, but it sounds like it's good news so far.
Mark, questions?
No.
Okay. Jeff?
All right, and if I could jump in, Commissioners, Jeff Voller, Director of Facilities for the record. And this may be David's last meeting with us, perhaps, unless we have him come for one more budget update, which he could do on the phone or be here in person as well. But I just want to thank him for his work on this project. It's been good to partner with him and have him on board to work on this project. So thanks, David, for your time and talents and efforts with this project as well. Just kind of updates since we last updated. So obviously we're moved into the building. I'd say the move went very well, probably as well as could be expected. I think for the most part the staff were pretty prepared. The debris moving company brought those big red tin tubs that you maybe saw sitting around some of the departments, and that made it really easy to pack up the different areas. They also came with carts, and so some of the departments were actually moving carts across the parking lot and moving themselves in because it was so simple and easy to do. So when the movers got here, it was quick and efficient, and so I'd say all things considered for the amount that we moved, it went very, very well. Since then, our building and grounds team has been really busy helping to get the building set up, making final adjustments, things like hanging whiteboards, TVs, cork boards, that sort of thing to make the building fully functional for the different departments with their needs. Boughton is now fully off-site. All of their major tasks are complete. They still have a few small adjustments and, a few remaining punch list items, but all of those are very small. There's a few things that continue to pop up. We're working on door adjustments and, kind of as buildings shift, there's different airflow issues with the HVAC that we're just making balance and adjusting. It's called TAB. Which is basically our balancing of the building, and we're still working through that as we get into that occupancy. There's some areas that have too much airflow, some areas that don't have enough airflow, and so we're continually making adjustments on that. The Boughton team and their subcontractors have been really good to respond to our calls and questions, and usually getting somebody here pretty quick to help us make those adjustments. And we're learning how that building works and operates as well as we move through that. And so that's been a learning curve for us, but that's been, all things considered, going quite well. The last major thing to be done that was just completed late last week were the interior blinds. If you remember, we put in interior blinds in those offices. Those were installed last week, as well as those few remaining exterior blinds. So that was kind of the last big task item to do, and that was just completed last week. So, as far as the building performance, there's still a few, kinks and hiccups to work out as we get into a new building. But, I would say for a building this size, they're all fairly minor. Courts have been in session. From what I've heard, they've been working very well. I did just hear this morning there's been a few IT issues, but that's actually not really our issue, as internally that would be the state IT department. But I know they've been working through those. So I think there's been a few hiccups with some of that IT that they installed that hasn't been talking to each other the way that it should, but they're working those out. Like I mentioned, we're making some minor door adjustments, HVAC balancing. Grant and his team have been working on setting up the cameras, finalizing the emergency call button system, and setting up the bailiff security office. So they have been working on those. As far as FF&E, the building is mostly outfitted now. I am collecting a list of, kind of any warranty items that we'll need to take to Boughton. But as far as FF&E, kind of the remaining items that I just want to bring to your attention that I'm planning on purchasing, unless anybody throws a big red flag and say, kind of hold on that. The bailiffs have requested some additional beam seating to go into the lobby area. So when you come through security screening, so the stainless steel beam seating that we have throughout the courtrooms, they've requested an additional 5-seater and a 2-seater. That's going to be about a $2,000 cost. I've had a request to modify the chairs at the attorney tables in the courtrooms. I think it would be better suited to have the middle chair without arms. One, they will fit better at those attorney tables. And two, I understand when defendants are sitting there, sometimes they may or may not be in shackles, but it's better to have those chairs without arms. And so I think all things considered, it's probably a good move to purchase those few additional chairs. Again, about a $2,000 cost on that. One area we didn't do very well with the FF&E is in the bailiff areas of the court holds. It was not very clear on the plans where their desks were going to go, and one portion of the plan showed it called out as a built-in. One portion showed it as blank, and so it was kind of a miss because FF&E didn't pick it up, and it wasn't included in the contractor's scope. So we are actually custom building them some desks through our building and grounds team. But the one thing that we're probably going to need to do to outfit them is put in some secure storage so that they have some lockable filing cabinets and some things to keep their papers secure in that court hold. So I'm looking at some options for them for that. There will be some minor rekeying. There's a few things in the keying setup that we just don't quite like how it works in terms of the actual mechanical regular key. So I'll bring the key company back and have them make some adjustments to that. That'll be a cost on us. Signs, as we've been in there for a couple weeks now, I've been collecting a list of signs. There's some areas that we need some more directional signs, like, for example, on the second level, courtroom 17 is really hard to find. Like, you cannot see where it's at, and so we're going to put some directional signs to help get people to courtroom 17. There's some signs that we're required to have that need to go on the door, like, no guns and service animals and things like that. We have a few temporary signs kind of just taped on the door, but we'll put in some permanent signage for that, and I'm collecting a list of all those signs, and we'll be putting in an order with that sign company. The courts have requested peepholes to go into the back doors so that when you come into the courtrooms, you can actually see. We have those in our existing courtrooms, and that was something that was never considered in the scope of work for the contractor. So that's a fairly simple fix for us to put in some peepholes so that you can stand at the back of the courtroom and make sure the courtroom is clear, or you're not walking into a court that was inadvertently there and surprise. It's been requested that we have an after-hours payment box that needs to go up near the front entry. Currently, that after-hours payment box is now in the staff-only vestibule courtroom on the lower level. So we need to make an addition there. And then I'm getting a quote on 2 additional blinds. The 2 large offices in the southeast corner that have basically bank of windows on both sides. We're getting a lot of glare and heat radiation in the mornings, so I think it'd probably be worth considering adding 2 additional blinds to those 2 offices, the one on level 3 and the one on level 2 on that southeast corner. It'd be the east-facing window. I think that will help because those rooms are running pretty hot, and I think we need to help cool those down a little bit. And then IT is working on a few additional cameras in some areas we've identified as blind spots. So just, now that we have it operational, it's identified as blind spots. So those are the major FF&E items I'm working on. There's a few just really little minor things I think that'll probably continue to pop up, but that's kind of the list from there. And then any additional items that people would want to, furnish offices and things are probably going to be more one-off individual requests, and most of those should probably start coming from individual department budgets now moving forward. So,
Okay.
and that is mainly my update with that, unless you have any questions.
All right. Questions, Mark?
None.
Questions, Bruce?
Nope. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And thank you, David, for all your help and keeping us on track. You bet. All right. Item 2, assess, collect, distribute committee update. Looks like Dyson and Jelena.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dyson
Morning.
Savage, Chief Deputy Assessor for the record. Just wanted to come and give you guys an update on where we're at with Simpatico. It's kind of the primary piece of work that's happening between multiple offices. So right now, the treasurer is still testing their reporting, and we're looking at implementation at the back end of November, early part of December. After that point, the treasurer will have issued tax bills for the year, so that's kind of the stepping off point for us when we were looking at best processes. We're kind of in step with them now in terms of the occupancy and supplemental rules, so everything should be finishing up in November. We should be mailing in December, and then at that point, it seemed like the best time to implement Simpatico. So we're taking some time now to do additional rounds of testing. This project's on for a while, so there's been additional changes at the state and changes to some of the state reporting, so we've had to modify Simpatico to keep pace with those changes at the state because we're trying to kind of jump on that ship. But outside of that, there's not much else going on with it. We're just kind of in these final rounds of testing and making sure that all these reports are going to work for us. But the vast majority of the coding work and billable hours from XTR have been completed. So now we're just kind of doing maintenance, and we're still under budget for the project in the assessor's office right now. But with that, I'll answer any other questions the board has.
Okay. Questions? Bruce, questions for Dyson?
No, thank you.
Jelena?
I don't have anything to add.
Oh, nothing to add.
Tyson
Okay.
said it all.
All right. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. And then we'll just get one next month, and then it should be. Okay. Perfect. All right. Item 3, 911 staffing update. And we have Lieutenant Howard here. And we addressed it a little bit in a budget meeting, and we figured monthly updates might help us more understand the situation and maybe better address some bottlenecks or challenges. So,
Yes, good morning, Lieutenant Howard, for the record. Currently, I misspoke a little bit in the last meeting, or there was some misunderstanding of what I was trying to get at, but I said there were 8 ECOs. That's technically true. I have 8 who are trained right now, with an additional 5 supervisors who are working double duty, answering calls, dispatching channels, as well as monitoring the shift. Of those 5, I have 1 getting ready to go on FMLA, which could be any day to week now, and she'll be gone for the rest of the year, leaving me with 12 total trained dispatchers, which is enough to have minimum staffing every day. But anytime somebody is sick or vacation or in training, we'll have to pull overtime to manage that. Right now, we're getting ready to go into a new cycle, at which time we're going to be assigned 5 12-hour shifts, so 60-hour work weeks, with reduced and limited vacation opportunities. I have 6 applicants in the background process right now in various stages, with 1 potentially starting within the next few weeks. I'm not really sure what all you guys would like to know more on that.
number in training.
Oh, thank you. I have 5 in training, soon to be 6 when that next one starts.
Okay.
They're at the very beginning phases of their training. I have 1 that's a lateral, so I'm hoping that we can get him through a little bit quicker, but the rest are entry level. I have 1 that is call taking training. She's been trained on that, so she's starting fire med training, which will take probably 2 months for her to be able to start handling a fire med channel. And then after that, she will have to go through law training before she's completely signed off. And I'm not expecting that to be ready by the end of the year. I'm hoping January she'll be fully trained. The other 5, as soon as they're done call taking training, they'll be in the center answering 911 calls and admin lines. After that, they will slowly be trained for fire med. I only have 3 trainers right now. 4, I pulled a supervisor right now who's helping to train. But once that other supervisor goes on FMLA, I cannot use her for training. So between the 3 that I have, it will take some time to get these 5 through their various training programs.
Would you say that that's the biggest hurdle right now?
It's time, yeah.
Okay.
We're in a decent spot if you look at it. If you're projecting out 6 months from now, 6 to 10 months from now, we'll be in a pretty good spot. It's just getting through this training cycle. That's going to be the hardest part.
Right, without burnout of your current.
Additional burnout.
Yeah, yes, correct. And then, did you want to speak to the AI component at all, or we'll leave that for later?
Yeah, it's at legal right now. I just sent the contract that I got yesterday for it. Rapid SOS is a company that had heard about some of our struggles. They reached out and offered us some mostly free program for 6 months for non-emergency calls. I want to make that clear. It's not 911 calls. It's a pretty good program that's being implemented around the country. Actually, Post Falls is using a leg of their program. They're getting ready to use a leg of their program for various different stuff for 911 to reduce burnout and some of the ancillary duties that dispatchers have. They've reached out to us again, 6 months for free. After that, it's up to us whether we want to continue the contract or not.
Okay.
I'm hoping to have that implemented within the next month.
Okay. And then, of course, 6 months is that time frame where we might be able to release some trainees and,
Yes,
make things a little bit different. So,
hopefully.
okay. I know we have some executive session stuff, but Bruce, I wanted to ask if you had any questions at this time.
So I just want to understand, is the 5 trainees, soon to be 6, part of the total 13 that you number, or is that in addition?
That's in addition. So the 13 that I have, or that I was referring to, are trained, capable of being on a radio and answering calls.
Okay, so in 6 months, you're expecting to have 17, 18 people, provided everyone passes training.
In 6 months, I'm hoping to have call takers trained and hopefully a few additional fire med dispatchers so that they can start answering or handling some shifts, but not all.
Okay, so given what you have right now in 6 months, what do you expect your staffing levels to be if people pass their training?
It's kind of hard for me to give you an answer to that because in 6 months I might have an additional 3 fire med trainers, but that's not law. Fire med trained dispatchers, but that's not law trained dispatchers. So it will help ease the burden a little bit, but I'm going to have to train them for law, which is only going to reduce our numbers again, but not to this level.
Okay, so let me ask the question differently. How much staffing do you expect to have, total staff, to take calls after 6 months?
16.
16.
16 to 17, but
Okay.
realistically 16.
That's all my questions. Thank you.
Gotcha. Yep.
Okay. All right. Since we're going to executive session, is there any public comment? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Mark, did you have any questions at this point?
Nope, they were all answered.
Perfect. Okay. So then I would take a motion to enter into executive session.
Second.
And I would, Brandy and Jennifer, if you wanted to stay for the first couple minutes. So, okay. All right. So I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 206-1D.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline,
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye. Chairman Matari.
Aye.
Okay. We'll just wait for staff We are back from executive session. It is 10:45. Is there a motion?
Yes.
Would you like to exit?
Yes.
Okay, I will second that.
Commissioner Everline?
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
All right, thank you all. Meeting adjourned.